And greetings and welcome to the QCast. This is season 4, episode 47. And folks, this is a special QCast game day edition, Sweet 16 edition. And what a guest. It's amazing it's taken this long. Jeff Hunter, we've definitely been chatting for years, it seems, right? And
Yeah.
tell me, did you think the QCast call was coming or that you were getting snubbed? Or talk me through that, Jeff Hunter.
I thought you were snubbing me. No, I'm just kidding. I've been waiting to get onto the QCast and talk to you for a while. I watched most of the episodes, and I was telling you before, but I was watching the Logan one yesterday with my buddy, one of my teammates, and I was like, I'm just waiting for him to call me. I'm hoping that I get on there to get to talk to him. So I'm glad you invited me on. Thank you.
No, I was looking at the brackets and I was like, I cannot believe I have not talked to Jeff Hunter in this whole time. I was like, how's that possible? And I started thinking to myself, of all the guys out there that I haven't talked to, like I would literally regret it if I didn't get a chance to do this, Jeff. Because, and for those that don't know, Jeff, he's a superstar player at Keene State. He's a 6'7". They call you a center. I would call you a forward. I don't know. Are you a
Yeah.
center? Are you truly a center? I think you're a 4, not a 5. But what do you call yourself?
Yeah, I would say I'm a forward. I guess like the game's positionless now. And when I first came into Keene, I was the 4, and we had a big man, James Nosey, who
Right.
was more of a traditional big. But since it's like evolved and it's more 5 out spacing, or at least in like the LEC and like our conference, we're more 5 out traditional, like play action and stuff like that. And then over time, I've gradually just started to get into the post once people started to call me a center, and it's worked out so far.
Yeah, I pulled up the roster today in prep for this, and I was like, huh, they call him a center. I don't see it that way, but you're right. Positionless basketball. Folks, Jeff Hunter, let me give you some numbers. Let me see, folks, if you think these are good numbers. So here's what this dude is doing this year: 17.8 points a game, 13.6 rebounds a game, 3.0 assists per game. And oh, by the way, he's shooting 62% from the field. Folks, those are first team All American numbers right there for this young man. What a season, Jeff. Like, you came into the year with huge expectations, obviously. Just talk to me about how you feel sitting here as you get ready for this big game against Guilford tonight.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for the opportunity that we've gotten and extremely excited to be down in North Carolina playing. I've actually never been down here before, and it's a wonderful state. And just the city of Greensboro is great. We got to go practice at Guilford yesterday, and their court is much different than Keene's. Like you see the lighting, and it's just a little
Right.
different and odd that you kind of have to adjust to. But I'm super excited to get down there and play in the Sweet 16 once again. And obviously not being at Swarthmore for this year is a little bit better than our previous tournament runs. So yeah, we're really excited and prepared and ready to go tonight.
Yeah, it's a good point. I've watched so many streams from Guilford, and Hampton Sydney's coach, Caleb Kimbrough, joked about that really dark, shadowy side that's on the left side of the stream. Is that a real thing? Is it really as dark and shadowy in real life, or is that just a stream thing?
Yeah, so I've watched so much film on them as well, and I'm like, it can't be like that in person. And then we walked in the gym, and it's almost pitch black. You're like, yeah, that side is completely dark and exactly how it looks like on stream. So it's definitely something to adjust to.
It's funny.
That's their advantage.
I saw a photo. I think it was maybe from your school's site. It may be from practice or something. Yes, I saw like really good looking photos of the Guilford gym. And on stream, things kind of look dark in general. But the photos like make the gym look super cool, like that ceiling up there and
Oh
everything.
yeah.
And like the real photos, I was like, man, that's a beautiful place. That's going to be a pretty great environment tonight, Jeff. Don't you think? Like, Sweet 16 game, they're incredible. You guys are incredible. The venue's great. It's going to be packed. That's going to be a pretty cool game to play in, don't you think?
Yeah, it's hard to say that any Sweet 16 game isn't going to be exciting to play at, no matter where it is. But most definitely going against a great team like Guilford is going to be extremely competitive for both teams. And obviously, you're facing one of the top teams in the country, so it's got to bring your A game and be ready to go. I think it's going to be a dogfight the entire night.
Yeah, and this is one of those games where, I know that they're a little higher seed than you guys, but it's kind of a tie as well. I don't know how you separate these two teams. The resumes are really close. They get a little bit of an edge on some of the metrics. But to me, there's been so many of these, Jeff, like coin flip games in the tournament where like Williams at Oswego State.
Mhm.
Oswego, I guess, was the favorite because they're at home, but was that really an upset? I don't think so. There's been a whole bunch of those games, right? And I have you noticed that too in following the tournament and the bracket that there's just so many great teams and so many even matchups like the one you'll play in tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you see it anywhere. Like realistically, at the end of the day, it's about who plays better for 40 minutes tonight. It does like at the end of the day, it could have been in Guilford, it could have been in Keene, it could have been at a neutral site. It really doesn't matter where it is because you still have to put the basket in the hole and play defense. So realistically, I've seen people talking about, oh, it should have been at Keene, it should have been here, but I saw a tweet and it was like you can't expect to win a national championship and complain about playing on the road. Like it just doesn't make any sense. So where
Absolutely.
I'm extremely excited to play at a different gym. I honestly think that we sometimes play better going away and playing in a visitor's gym when the whole crowd's against us. So I'm excited for it, like I said before. And yeah, it could be a coin flip whether the spread's one way that we got on D3 Datacast or another. It really doesn't matter. Like I said, it's just about putting the ball in the hole and playing 40 minutes tonight.
Shouts to the Snyders. The Snyders get a mention here on the QCast, the data cast, big time. Yeah, I think there's something to what you're saying. I remember last year, um, talking Oswego State, Randolph Macon, and making the point that like sometimes when you go on the road in the tournament, there is more pressure on the home team. Like let's say that the road team gets up 6-0, 8-0. Sometimes that starts to become a lot of pressure on a home team with the home crowd there, and now you're down 8-2 or something. So look, we'll see how the game plays out tonight, but I don't think it's always terrible to go
Yeah,
on the road. I've followed my team all over the country in this tournament, and honestly, they've played better on the road than at home a lot of times. So I think there's something to what you're saying, Jeff. Got to
totally
ask
agree.
you a little bit about the coaching transition this year because that was a big deal in the offseason. I remember when Coach Kane announced he was leaving for Johns Hopkins. I don't think anyone begrudged him for that, right? That's one of the best jobs in Division 3. Um, the good news is you had the guy right in house, didn't you? Talk about what it was like when Coach Kane left, and then Coach Hastings got the job.
Yeah, it was definitely a very interesting time. Like, I don't think anybody was really expecting it. Coach Keene and I had been talking on the phone about it the entire summer when it was like he was talking about the job. Like, and him and I have one of the best relationships. I mean, he's helped me develop myself into the person and leader that I am today. So I'm forever grateful for him, and he's still one of my best friends to this day. So when he told me about the Johns Hopkins job, and he like his passion that he puts into a team is just unmatched. So he didn't want to leave and he wanted to be in both positions, but unfortunately you can't do that. And we kind of just like we were just talking about it. I was like, man, you can't turn this decision down. Like this is the best opportunity for you. So he was, obviously one foot in the door with Keene still and always wanted to be like around us and supporting us. But at the end of the day, you got to still make business decisions for your career. And we all supported him throughout that entire process because he always helped us and led us in the right direction. And then we transitioned to Coach Hastings, who was, like you said, in program.
Right.
So not much really changes when it comes from having an extremely involved assistant coach stepping up and taking over a really good program. And kind of, I don't think you really, try and reinvent the wheel when you're in house, right? So
Right.
Coach Hastings has done a great job of just, doing a lot of things that were similar with Coach Kane's philosophies, and adding his own tweaks onto it when it comes to, some accountability things and having his own
Right.
sayings that he does. And he's done a magnificent job with us. And, obviously we bring on some new assistant coaches as well that are very helpful in just keeping the team together and keeping that culture there.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with how smooth everything has gone with this transition. It doesn't always go that way. There's a lot of coaching transitions that take a few years to really take. I also
Definitely.
want to give you a chance to give a shout out to your home court environment. I have watched so many games during your career at that place of yours, and I gotta say, it is one of the best environments in Division Three consistently. I mean, you guys pack them in, and your people are into the game for 40 minutes, and they are loud and they impact results of games. I can't remember the name of your court, but if you would,
Spalding.
yeah, get talk about that environment that you guys have at Keene State because it's one of the great ones.
Yeah, it's surreal. Like it's like almost everything that you think of as a kid playing in front of an environment of like Keene's just a great community all around where they're very supportive of their athletes and players, especially in the basketball court, because you're literally in the middle of New Hampshire. Like there's nothing around the city of Keene, or at least for like the
Right.
players' perspective. So there, you don't see professional sports teams, you don't see high major Division 1 teams. And so the Keene community just does a great job of coming out and supporting us, whether it's, kids, parents, adults, whatever it is, they all come out and they're very like loving and really want to be involved with the team.
Sure.
We have great support from everybody in the community when it comes to like donations and just keeping everybody happy. Like after a game, every single game this year, we had just kids coming up and taking pictures and doing autographs. And it was just nonstop after every game for like 20 minutes until our coaches were like, all right, like
Incredible.
it's time to come down. So I think the impact that they have on us, the players have the same impact back on that community. So it's good that, it's a two-way street with both of us there.
Yeah, incredible environment to watch. I remember watching that Tufts game that you ended up losing, but it was just an unbelievable atmosphere. That was back in, gosh, it seems like it was 3 seasons ago. It was somewhere in December 9th, I think.
Yeah.
You've only got 3 losses on the year. You lost to Stockton. That was a game out in South Dakota at the Small College Basketball Champions Classic. You lost to Tufts and Western Connecticut, and that is it. 26-3, 15-1. You face Guilford. They're 24-4, 13-3. That game is tonight at 7:15 Eastern time. Wanted to also ask you about rebounding. I mentioned your stats. You're averaging 13.6 rebounds a game. Look, it's one thing to be a big kid. You're 6'7", and certainly that helps rebounding. But there's not many 6'7" kids in Division III that are averaging 13.6 rebounds a game. Tell me, what is it? A mentality? What makes you such a great rebounder?
Yeah, you nailed it on the head. It's mentality. You got to want it. You got to really chase it after and go high point the ball and just not let anybody take it from you. When I was a freshman, Coach Keene and I'll joke about it sometimes. I would just get the ball taken out of my hands anytime it would hit my hands and it would just deflect out of bounds or somebody would take it from me. And he would just scream at me. He's like, just get the ball, just get the ball. And we finally just developed like the mindset of what it took to actually just go high point the ball and just rip it and not let anybody take it from you. And it definitely started to translate with just getting in the weight room as well and getting stronger so people couldn't push you off your spot.
Yeah, I just think technique wise, you're great, and obviously desire wise, there's something about just the desire to be a great rebounder, right? And so, I got to also ask you about some D3 dunks. Like seems like you're leading the league in D3 dunks. When I think of some of the highlight reel stuff that you have going on, have you always been a dunker? Do you enjoy dunking? Let's talk about D3 dunks here, Jeff Hunter.
When I was in high school, the only thing I was good at was dunking. I played at a Division 4 high school. So like I was way taller than everybody and I quite literally only caught alley oops and dunked it. And then transitioned into D3 and it was like a little bit slower for me to like start dunking all the time until I got older. And now like you see D3 dunks and stuff and I'm catching like the same two-hand back scratch dunk every other day. But there are some extremely impressive dunks on there that you see. I was actually when I was watching the Guilford film, that first round against Barry, some kid caught an insane lefty putback
I
on
saw that.
Guilford, and that dunk had me impressed. So I'm like, mine, like I'm 6'7", I'm supposed to dunk it. Like those are the ones that I watched. I'm like, that's deep three hoops right there.
Yeah, and kudos to the Datacast for inventing the D3 Dunks hashtag because that has caught on like wildfire this year. Just a
Most
couple
definitely.
more questions as I'm catching you here on game day and you guys have stuff going on. So tell me about Guilford. Obviously, I'm not asking for the scouting report, but I've watched them a whole bunch this year because they've been in the top 10 the whole season and they're one of the best teams in the country. They have some studs. So, what are you thinking going into this matchup? What are the keys to victory, and what do you think about their team?
Yeah, they're a great team, super disciplined, and they play a much different style than us. Their whole conference is a much more slow paced conference, where they really want to just run sets, run actions,
Yeah,
get shooters the ball, and kind of just take advantage of whoever's guarding the mismatch realistically. So it's going to be a lot about just taking them out of action and playing well. And like I said, just playing our basketball. If we can play our basketball, I think we got a good shot against them. But like I've been saying, it's all about playing 40 minutes of basketball, and whoever scores more buckets at the end of the day will get the win. But I'm extremely confident in our guys. I know the work that we've put in, and I know what it takes to get here. So I think we got a good shot at it.
I agree. I don't know if you follow the bracket, but when I posted my bracket, did you notice which team I had going to the Final Four out of your quadrant? I mean, did
Did
we
you have
notice that,
Did you
Jeff
have
Hunter?
us? Let's go.
I
I
did.
love to
I
hear.
did. And so,
Go.
I think the game tonight's a coin flip. I think it's going to come down to something happens in the last 2 minutes. And I think either team can win, but it should be like an incredible atmosphere there. We've talked about that. Got to ask you, um, you know, you've got limited games left here, right? So you can play four more, Jeff. I'm going to give you the math on this. There's four more
Yeah.
games that you can play, then that's it. So what's your degree going to be in, and what are your plans after school?
Yeah, so I currently double major and have a minor. So construction management, occupational health and safety, and then I minor in business management. So those are my degrees after 5 years of being in school. I'll have that. And then I also sell health and life insurance with a couple of my partners. So we have our own little business there. And then I'm definitely planning on playing with the TBT. We are a D3 team in pursuing an overseas career.
That all of those. So there's a lot you just said. First of all, insurance guy, let's go. Let's People don't know insurance people are cool, Jeff. Don't let anyone make fun of me on that. I'm 30-year insurance guy, so let's go on that.
Let's go.
Hey, TBT, that is great news. I mean, boy, we can construct an unbelievable team right now. So I'm glad
Oh
to hear
yeah.
you're interested in doing that. Glad to hear you're interested in going overseas. You can play there, you can do well there, and that's all really great stuff. Can you believe that it's winding down? I mean, like, can you believe that your career is just about over? Are you still like, are you in shock over that?
It's so hard to reflect on it like in the moment when you're preparing for each game and each round of the tournament and throughout the entire season, even like wrap my mind around that my career's coming to an end. But like at this point when it's literally, I'm only guaranteed today, it's like you're just gonna leave it all out in the court, and let the basketball gods take care of where it ends up. So I believe that like all the work that I've put in over the past 5 years will allow it to fall in the right direction. But it's so surreal to even think that 5 years at Keene's going to come to an end at some point. So hopefully it ends with the national championship, and that's what I think will happen. But at the end of the day, like I said, the basketball gods will take care of that, and I'll just cherish the moment.
Well, I tell you what, there's some highs and lows this time of year that are unbelievable, right? From what happens at the end of these basketball games, teams moving on to keep chasing a dream versus a dream dying. And so this is a very emotional time of year. I'll just make some final thoughts here and then I'll kick it to you for anything that you would add. But, when I was looking, I interviewed Logan Pearson last night and I was looking at like, who do I need to talk to here? Now I picked Keene State on my first bracket, and I continue to pick Keene State to get to the Final Four. But I thought to myself, if Keene State loses tonight, and I have not interviewed Jeff Hunter while he is an active player, I would regret that for the rest of my life, because if there's anyone in this bracket that should be on this show, it's you. And I have so much respect for how you've played. Unbelievable advocate for Division III, Jeff, you've been. And just the way you've played, the saying, you play the right way. That has been you, my friend. And it's an honor to get you on here. And I was like, man, I think I screwed this up because I didn't send you a note until like last night, like, hey, dude, can you come on today? I didn't think you would. And then you're like, yeah, let's do it. So I just wanted to thank you for coming on and give you huge kudos for what's been an amazing career. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, because you're going to have like Owls Nation tuning into this, D3 Nation, maybe some random people from Greensboro are tuning into this. What
Yeah,
would you leave people with today, Jeff Hunter, on the QCast?
that's good. Final thought. Well, I'd say thank you for having me on, and I was just as excited to see your DM on Twitter as you were when you were sending it. And I was like, there's no way that I don't get on the QCast. I would have been hurt if I wasn't. So, with all like the D3 hoops guys that are always on Twitter, I just think it makes Division III basketball so much more fun to be involved in, and a lot more people are looking and watching it than we may seem to think, right? Like our entire team is consistently, talking about things that are happening, popping up. We love the battles that you guys get into. So it's honestly a great honor that we get to be a part of it, and it makes D3 hoops just that much more fun to play. And just like, I'm sure you guys aren't making any money off of it, and we aren't getting any free school. It's all built off passion. I think that goes a long way with how much fun you can have at the Division III level. So I'm greatly appreciative of the things that you guys do for us. And then obviously having things like this that allow us to speak and, have conversations with people we may not have met through anything else.
Well, that's really appreciated, and you're right. Yeah, there's we're all just doing this because we love the level, and we support all of you. The men's hoopers, the women's hoopers, we support all of you. We want the brand to be positioned correctly. There's people out there that'll tell a high school kid that, oh, you're too good for Division III, and so we want to make sure that we control that narrative to what's
Yeah.
accurate. But folks, that's Jeff Hunter from Keene State. He's a 6'7" senior. Again, he's averaging 18 points, 14 rebounds, 3 assists, shooting 62%. He's got a big game tonight with his team at Guilford. So they're playing on the road at Guilford, and Guilford is incredibly talented. 7:15 tonight. Jeff Hunter, it's been an honor to have you on, and I will certainly be watching your ball game tonight. And I wish you the
Awesome.
best of luck tonight against Guilford.
Thank you. Appreciate it.